Lord Chaitanya recommended that the greatest achievement of human life is to achieve the grace of the Lord, love of God. He said, Prema Pramartha Mahan. To achieve love of God is the highest perfection of life. The same perfection is recommended by Kardama Muni to his wife. His wife belonged to a very aristocratic royal family. Generally, those who are very materialistic or who possess material wealth and prosperity are unable to appreciate the value of transcendental love of God. Although Devahuti was a princess coming from a very great royal family, fortunately she was under the supervision of her great husband, Kardama Muni, who offered her the best gift which can be bestowed in human life, the grace of the Lord or love of God. This grace of the Lord was achieved by Devahuti by the goodwill and satisfaction of her husband. She served her husband, who was a great devotee and saintly person, with great sincerity, love, affection and service. And Kardama Muni was satisfied. He willingly gave love of God, and he recommended that she accept it and enjoy it because he had already achieved it. Love of God is not ordinary commodity. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was worshipped by Rupa Goswami because he distributed love of God, Krishna Prema, to everyone. Rupa Goswami praised him as Mahavadanyaya, a greatly munificent personality, because he was freely distributing to everyone love of Godhead, which is achieved by wise men only after many, many births. Krishna Prema, Krishna consciousness, is the highest gift which can be bestowed on anyone whom we presume to love. One word used in this verse, Nija Dharma Dohan, is very significant. Devahuti, as a wife of Kardama Muni, achieved an invaluable gift from her husband because she was very faithful to him. For a woman, the first principle of religion is to be faithful to her husband. If fortunately the husband is a great personality, then the combination is perfect, and the lives of both wife and husband are at once fulfilled. So Devahuti, receiving the special mercy from Kardama Muni, and that mercy was in the form of Kardama Muni blessing her with love of Godhead. As Prabhupada says, this love of Godhead is not ordinary commodity. It is distributed by Lord Himself as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Love of God has to be given by God Himself anytime, anywhere. Somebody has to have love of God, then the Lord only has to give that love of God. In other words, one should hanker after love of God. One can only seek after love of God. One can desire love of God. One can hanker after it. But that potency of love of God, it has to be gifted by the Lord Himself. The reason being that love of God is something that the Lord sells Himself to the devotee. The love of God is given, then the Lord becomes a property of the devotee. Because that is the way the Lord, love of God means the Lord, the devotee becomes very dear to the Lord. So you can see that how the love of God is given to the devotees by the Lord Himself, and further distribution of this love of God is given to the devotees. Because the devotees know the actual value of the love of God. And unless somebody has qualified, another jiva has qualified with the attitude of servitude, humility, respect towards other living entities, unless these qualifications have been developed, the pure devotee who has a love of God will not pass it on. And if he has to pass it on, he wants to pass it on. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as it is said here, Rupa Goswami said, he was distributing love of God to everyone. Rupa Goswami praised him as Mahavadanya, a greatly munificent personality, because he was freely distributing to everyone love of God, which is achieved by wise men only after many, many births. So love of God is not easily distributed, but how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is distributing it freely. The reason why it is not distributed freely is because you need some qualification to have it. Otherwise the love of God is useless for a person who is lusty. Love of God is useless. Unless the ground is prepared, unless the field is ready, there is no point in sowing the seed. So in the same way, unless one has come to the point of ready for a life of service, ready for being less and less self-centered, one does not ultimately is not on the path of qualifying to get love of God from the spiritual master. Spiritual master also wants to give love of God to his disciples. It's not arbitrarily they are holding. They want to give it out, but we are not qualified. Now then how is it that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is being said to be distributing to everybody freely? Yes, the Lord is potentially distributing love of God to everybody by distributing this Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Why potentially distributing? Because it is distributed, anybody can get Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Now if you chant Hare Krishna, if you do Shravanam, Kirtanam properly, if you associate with this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then that potential gift of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is contained in the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, is distributed, but we are not able to touch it. Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the sound Hare Krishna, the names of Krishna, is Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. It is a Vigraha of Chaitanya Rasa. Is love of Godhead. Is contained in the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna Mahamantra is Satchit Ananda sound. So it's distributed to everyone, isn't it? Now all over the world we distributed Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Qualified, unqualified, everybody is getting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra on the tongue. Kali Kale Krishna Nama Rupa Avatara. He has come as a sound. Avatar of the Lord means he comes down from the transcendental plane to our plane. That means the sound that you and me chant imperfectly with our material tongue, in that sound he has come. That is the meaning of avatara. Avatara means descending. Just like in the form of the metal, wood or whatever the deity is made up of, which we can handle, which we can touch, which we can form, which we can shape, into that the transcendental form of the Lord descends, avatara. So avatara means in our plane he becomes accessible. So Krishna Kalikale Namarupa avatara means the Lord has come in particular form as this sound Hare Krishna Mahamantra into our plane. Our plane means simply when I move my tongue and chant Hare Krishna, the God is there. Nam Namakari Bauda Nija Sarva Shakti. All the Shaktis are there in that material sound. And that material sound is no longer material sound. Even though it is vibrated with a material tongue, it is no longer material sound. Just like the material of the deity is material, but it is no longer material because the Lord Satchidananda form, identical form, has descended into that form. So it is no longer material. And it is through that seva to that avatara, to that descended form, we get purified to access the transcendental form of the Lord. Similarly, by rendering service to the ordinary vibrated sound, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. By serving that sound with our attention, with our doing attention, our instrument gets purified, body and mind gets purified. And then the very same body and mind, when it gets purified, will be able to access the transcendental Nama of the Lord, which is what is spiritualizing this Nama with all the Shakti, this sound with all the Shakti. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has distributed love of Godhead to everybody, means it is there. If it is for you, go through the process and please take it. Now when you hear Hare Krishna, what is the process? You have to chant and hear Hare Krishna. When you chant and hear Hare Krishna, when you do your japa, you chant and hear Hare Krishna, the Hare Krishna has got the potency to, because it is Chinmaya Vigraha, because it is full of Chitta, it will push out ignorance from our heart. It will push out illusion from our heart. It will push out an illusory attitude of existence, of enjoyment from our life, from our heart. When these things are pushed out of our heart, it's pushed out of the heart. That is the Shakti of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Of course, not that, if you don't want it, it will not push it out. There is no substitute to no desire for the living entity. Nobody is, through a mechanical process is lifted up to back to Godhead. Nobody through a mechanical process is lifted up to be given love of Godhead. Nobody is. The living entity's desire is very fundamental. I want love of Godhead. Initially, when you come to Hare Krishna movement, you won't even know what is love of Godhead. But somehow, due to past good fortune, one meets the spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, gets attracted. And then he starts chanting Hare Krishna, and that Hare Krishna actually enlightens us the value of the Hare Krishna. By chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, slowly we understand the value of Hare Krishna. Because you are serving the holy name as instructed by Srila Prabhupada. Because of that service, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra will reveal his true nature, step by step, that it is not ordinary sound. So it's a very extraordinarily special situation where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is freely distributing this love of Godhead, and that is what Srila Prabhupada is also distributing all over the world, continuing to distribute all over the world. Thousands and thousands of people are now receiving the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and they are engaging in serving the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the Namavatara. And the Namavatara's Leela is to liberate the living entity from the three modes of material nature, lift them out of this material world and take them back to Godhead. That is a Leela. So before taking them to Godhead, when the heart is cleansed, Cheto Darpanam Arjanam, after the heart is cleansed, then one's original awakening, one original Krishna consciousness slowly gets awakened. And the devotee, the soul will start feeling this sense of belonging to the Lord. Love of Godhead means achievement of the original sense of belonging to God. I belong to Krishna. I am part and parcel of Krishna. I am Krishna's. That relationship, when you say part and parcel, generally we have a tendency to think of material objects, part and parcel. Part and parcel in the personal space, if you see, the personal, go to this personal space, not the material space. Material space, this thread is part and parcel of this kartal. In the same way, go to the material space. Everything is persons. The Supreme Person is God. We are part and parcel of that space, of the personality of God. Eternal. We never die. Krishna never dies. Our relationship never dies. Our loving affection, all those things are eternal relationship with the Lord. And because those things are not satisfied, the soul has got the natural tendency to love, natural tendency to have close relationship. This is our nature. These two propensities, the propensity for love, propensity for loving exchange. Propensity for love means the propensity to feel oneself, sense of belonging, inseparable belonging, inseparable loving belonging. And loving exchanges with the Lord to whom we eternally belong. This is the constitution of the soul. The soul's eternal nature is to love God. Because we are covered with Maya, another energy, our desire to love, desire for loving exchanges is thrown open to the living entity, to material bodies, material forms. And that is how this Maya is keeping all the living entities under her clutches, taking advantage of our desire for love, desire for loving exchange. That's how she's trapped. How she trapped? She gives, apparently she creates bodies which are apparently Satchidananda. The spiritual forms, spiritual vigrahas, forms are all Satchidananda. Spiritual vigraha, spiritual form is a personification of eternal identity, personality, eternal knowledge, pure knowledge, eternal bliss. All personalities are, all vigrahas, all forms in the spiritual world are filled with Sat, Chit and Ananda, or personification of the Satchit Ananda quality. Maya gives bodies in this material world. The Atma inside the soul is of the nature of Satchidananda. But that Atma is mistaken to be the body. The body is imitating the bodies of the spiritual world, which is full of Satchidananda. And we all believe that these bodies are Satchidananda. Why do we say so? Because nobody looks at what is inside the body, what this body is made up of. Only the appearance we go by. Is it not? Nobody sees things as they are. When you see a person, you don't see things as they are. If you see as they are, then there is no Sat, there is no Chit, there is no Ananda. There is Asat, Achit and Nirananda. There is Asat because this body does not last. This form does not last. Achit because it's naturally dead matter. This is also Achit, body is also dead matter. Nirananda, because there is no Ananda at all there. It's not Ananda filled body at all. If at all with the body we are experiencing any Ananda, it is in the head. Pain and pleasure is chemically experienced. Maya is creating. So the body itself, when you want to embrace somebody, the original tendency is to embrace Satchidananda Vigraha. But in the material world, we believe or falsely think I am embracing a Satchidananda body, but actually it is, you are embracing two bags of flesh and bones and organs are embracing each other. That reality we don't see. Maya does not want us to see. Maya covers that so that this game has to go on. For those living entities who want love, who wants to belong to different things other than belonging to Krishna. This is the point. We want to belong to different things. There is no question of not belonging somewhere else. Every one of us want to belong somewhere else, somewhere. Because we are parts. We are belonging to somewhere. We have to belong to somewhere. We have to belong to somewhere, to someone we need to belong. Sense of belonging is required. And that's what we are spreading, that we are extending that sense of belonging to material things, material bodies, material relationship. And out of all this sense of belonging, sense of love, and this exemplified in conjugal love, which we discussed earlier, that is the crux where Maya is utilizing that. Desire for intimacy is utilized by Maya to trap the living entity nicely. If you know this, by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one gets to realize this trap. Once one realizes this trap, then he will say, no, my original tendency is to relate with Satchidananda bodies. My original tendency to have intimate relationship with Satchidananda bodies. Even between Jiva to Jiva, I belong to Krishna. Every other Jiva belongs to Krishna, and therefore we belong to each other. There is relationship in the spiritual world with Krishna as the center. Krishna as the center. In the material world, you can see sometimes, two people are loving each other. I belong to you, you belong to me. Mutual belonging. But there is no Krishna there. Because they are seeing isolated bodies. The moment you see the spirit is never independent. It is Amsha of Krishna. So if you love Amsha, you will love Purna. So there is no question of intimate relationship between the living entities in the spiritual world without Krishna in the picture. So everything is Krishna conscious there. Every relationship with Krishna conscious. So in the material world, this relationship between the living entities in this material world is characterized by this original loving propensity transforming into lauding propensity. Everybody wants to lord over the other living entities. In the spiritual world, everybody is surrendering. Here everybody is lauding. This is an atmosphere of lauding, that is an atmosphere of surrendering. Every living entity is in the surrendering mode. Because there is no exploitation. You freely surrender because everybody is Krishna conscious. You can surrender to any other devotee. There is no problem. The atmosphere of surrendering. So unless this lauding tendency goes away, unless this tendency, laud means what? You supersede others' will. You supersede others' property, others' possession, without reference to their willingness. That is lauding. When you disrespect somebody else, that is the meaning of lauding. When you respect somebody else, doesn't matter. Even the Lord, super soul, is respecting the jiva's free will. You want to go into Maya, go into Maya. He seated in his heart, seated in the heart of all living entities. And the super soul is continuously respecting our free will. If there is anybody who respects us, it is the super soul. Nobody can respect us like the super soul. So that is why Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that when I can respect all living entities for what they are, for their freedom to be what they want to be, that time I can chant the holy name purely. So this is a qualification from our side. Love of God is freely available. Hare Krishna Mahamantra is freely available. So Hare Krishna Mahamantra will enlighten us about this lauding tendency, all these things. You hear everything from Prabhupada, you hear from Bhagavatam, everything. Hare Krishna Mahamantra causes you to read Srimad Bhagavatam, hear from Bhagavatam, hear from Vaishnavas. Gets you an opportunity, good fortune to hear all these things and cleanse our heart. And once we cleanse our heart, then the chanting of the Hare Krishna that we are chanting will become intimate to us with great respect. That is also a very big lesson we learned in the first part of this chapter, chapter 2. Vishrambena and Gaurena, the two important processes in serving the husband of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vishrambena means intimacy. Gauravena means with great reverence. Intimacy has to be with reverence to start with. Reverence will turn into, even in very intimate relationship, respect does not go away. Respect is there. Reverence may go away. Reverence will transform into respect. Respect never goes away. Respect is the most fundamental element. That is, respectful attitude is required for every jiva. Respect means you are recognizing the Lord's will, His creation. Any questions?
When we are doing service, Prabhu, that time, especially we are managing employees, and sometimes we are forced to, force them or put some rules and regulations to make them to do service. So in that context, how to take, we are lording over, or what conscience in which we should take?
See, first you have to understand these principles very properly. Then only you can apply them. See, ultimately, we should know that whether we are respecting or not. It's not about external things. It's not about external things. That's why very deeply what is respect I am defining. An external conduct is not equal to disrespect or respect. You have to find out internally. If you kick a dog with your leg, it is disrespect. If the dog is simply passing by and you don't care for it, it is not called disrespect. Oh no, I should respect this dog now. I don't have respect for this dog. No. You are respecting his free will to freely walk without receiving your namaskara. Because if you do namaskara, he'll think you are going to beat him. He'll run away. If you bend down to he'll think you're picking up a stone. So now that is your point. Now the overall understanding of Krishna conscious principles, if you come to it, We are talking about, we are in a Bhagavatam class, we are talking about the fundamental principles at the soul level, at the spirit level. When it comes to now Vyavaharik, devotional service, when we are dealing with employees and all this, please understand that it is in another plane. In that plane of material world, the law of karma is a personification of respect. It is a principle, as you sow, so you reap. A person, therefore, we have to execute duty. You have to find out what is my duty without sentimentalism. Arjuna was sentimental and he said, I will not fight these people. He was over-respectful as a Vaishnava. Krishna told him, what did he tell him? No, come down. It's a good quality. You got a soft heart, it's a good quality. That is not to be applied here. This is a world of fight. I have decided this war should happen. Adharma has happened. I want to cleanse the world. You fight, you kill. So very careful you should be. External action itself, you cannot make a rule. Doing this means disrespect. Doing this means respect. No. You have to act with knowledge. We are not talking about sentiment. That's why I defined the respect means respecting the other people's will in terms of will of the Lord. As per the will of the Lord, each living entity is in different situations in this material world, right? According to their karma, the will of the Lord. If I have to, let's say I have to give one increment to somebody, he is feeling very bad and I'm not giving, you go according to your system and you give him the increment or no increment. When you say, no increment, no, I am not respecting him. Because his will is what? I want more. I should respect his will. I should give him more. No. In the material world, people's desires are governed by laws of karma, which is the will of the Lord. So I cannot be sentimental. Devotees are not sentimental. Sentimental means just I am going according to my feeling. No. I have to go according to the overall. So therefore duty is there. What's your duty? Suppose somebody is not able to understand all these deep things philosophically. So we give him a simple rule of life to him. What is that? Do your duty. Don't try to understand why. Do your duty. So this is the first teaching in Bhagavad Gita. Do your duty. Without sentiments.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
So what is the difference between desire and ambition?
When desire is very deep, it becomes ambition. When there is a very deep aspiration for the desire, it becomes ambition. These are different words. When you're very strong about your desire, then becomes, you can have desire, no, very light desire, strong desire, yes or no. The desire is very strong, it becomes ambition.
So ambition is a superlative.
Superlative of desire.
Prabhu, I have a couple of questions on the previous class about austerity. One thing is, when we do austerities, sometimes devotees may get pride. And second one is when we do fasting, especially Nirjal fasting.
First one is what?
When we do the austerity, devotees may get pride. And the second question is, when we do fasting, Nirjal fasting, sometimes we may get angry. So how do we
When you do Nirjal fasting, you get angry.
Yes.
All this you have to solve yourself. Here you get only philosophical principles. Now you have to apply these philosophical principles in your life. So those are skills and techniques. Skills and techniques come out of the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. So that you have to, what is the situation? Suppose you are fasting. Somebody is offending Prabhupada. You can get angry. Application is different. Suppose you are fasting and somebody is disturbed you, your peace, then you get angry. That anger is different, this anger is different. So you apply it. So many principles of Vaishnava principles are given, you apply it according to situations.
However, the pride problem, sometimes when a devotees do austerities, they'll get pride.
Pride. Yeah. Pride is something, as I said, if somebody is successful about something, then there is, if he doesn't think that any time he can fail, if Prabhupada's mercy is not there, he'll feel proud. If you remember that by the mercy of Prabhupada, by somebody's mercy, I am where I am, you will never feel proud. Devotees always, they are possessionless actually. Devotee should understand I am possessionless. If I have power, it is by the mercy of Prabhupada. Any possession comes and goes in this material world because you are what you are, isn't it? You are only an amcha. For Krishna, it is not like that. Everything eternally belongs to Him. So nothing will go away from Him. He is a creator, He is a owner. Even we cannot go away from Him. We are also His. But as far as we are concerned, our idea towards everything else other than us is, it will come, it will go. Where is a question of pride? No pride. He is foolish if he understands this. So this knowledge is required that nothing belongs to me. Today I may have a power of doing some fasting, nirjal, and I may feel proud. Tomorrow some problem will happen to your organs. Doctor will say, you cannot. Not only nirjal, you cannot fast also, you have to eat. So gone. Your ability to do nirjal is gone. Is it not? So where is a meaning in being proud?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. You said Krishna is incarnated in this Kali Yuga as sound incarnation. What about the other yugas? What about in the other yugas, did Krishna not incarnate in this material sound? When we pronounce Krishna, so what is that sound in the other yugas? So only in Kali Yuga, if he is incarnate in the sound incarnation. What about the other yugas? What about other times?
In other yugas, also Krishna Nama is there. Narayana's Nama is there. Specifically in this yuga, after Krishna's avatara, Krishna incarnates as Krishna Nama. In other yugas, in the Vedas and all, in Atharva Veda, in different places, Krishna name is given. But it is not popular. It's hidden in the Vedas. So Krishna Nama is a particular avatara of Kali Yuga. Kali Kale, Krishna Nama Rupa avatara. Krishna has come as Nama Rupa avatara. Now when it comes to names of Narayana and other names which are there, in other yugas, Rama is there. Right? All these names are there. Those names, just recall what I explained. There is a Shuddha Nama, which is an eternal, non-different from the Lord. As the Lord exists, His name also exists eternally. That Shuddha Nama can come into this material world in the tongue of pure devotees. If you have purity, it can come anytime. You have to have, in other yugas, you have to have the power of purity. You have to have the power of purity to have the Lord on your tongue. Otherwise, it is an ordinary vibration. In Kali Yuga, even an ordinary vibration is invested with the potencies of the Lord. That is the meaning of Avatara. In Kali Yuga, if you read on board Krishna Hotel, board is not Avatara. That letter is not Avatara. The moment you say Krishna Hotel, you get purified.
In other yugas, when I say Krishna, I can't say Krishna.
If you say Krishna, if you are pure, then you will access Krishna. There is no discount. In this age, Avatara means to your plane, to your crazy plane, mundane, gross plane. The Shabda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In that plane he is accessible. In other yugas, you have to purely call, then you can always access. When you purely call, you can always access. But today we are not even pure. We are sadhakas. We start chanting Hare Krishna. Still the Lord is there. Suppose you are a sadhaka of Nama in other yuga. You don't get this facility. You have to become pure by so many other sources, and when you become pure one day, then you say Narayana, then Narayana is. You are touching pure Narayana. Or you must be pure. In other words, the Lord is very mercifully accessible to, in this Kali Yuga, in the Shabda. In Chaitanya Charitamrita also examples are given. Even if one syllable is there, Ra. Say you say Harami, in that Ram is there, right? That syllable is there, that can cleanse. A person who says Harami, it can cleanse millions of lives of sins. That is the power of the incarnation.
But true, when you take the example of Ajamila, he also chanted the holy name of Narayana in the previous yugas. But still he got purified.
First thing is find out which yuga is. Okay? Which yuga is, number one. Second is, he fell down for some time. He was a sadhaka of the Nama. He was a Brahmana. He was a well-qualified Brahmana. He was pure. So the Lord never forgets the devotees. So he gave an opportunity. So you will see all the special circumstances are there. Otherwise, there is no meaning in this statement. No, the Lord has made this statement. Krishnadas Kaviraj make this statement, Kali Kale Krishna Nama Rupa Avatara. So two answers. One is Krishna himself is, Krishna Nama is so freely available. Everybody is talking about Krishna, Krishna only in this yuga. In other yugas there will be Narayana and all those things will be talked about. Somebody asked this question to Prabhupada. In one lecture I heard Prabhupada ask, is Krishna not mentioned before 5,000 years back in the scriptures? So Prabhupada says, yes, in the Upanishads, in the Vedas, there are mention of Krishna. Atharva Veda says that Krishna is mentioned as Supreme Lord. It is not freely talked about. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.